in their final regular season meeting here at Turner Field. Hi, everybody. Pete Van Weeren along with Don Sutton welcoming you to Turner Field. Final game of the homestand for Atlanta. Final game with the Baltimore Orioles in the regular season. And Don Sutton coming into this series. Both teams are coming in with the best record in their respective leagues. The Orioles very careful about what they said coming in. They said the team that you've had to measure yourself against in the 90s has been the Atlanta Braves, and all we want to find out is if we're capable of matching up with them, and they have found out that indeed they are.
And Pete, I think that might have been great motivation for them. The Braves know that they're probably going to win their division, but I think the way the Orioles prepared is to say, we want to see if we're as good as the best ball club in baseball, and I think you see them play a little bit differently. What I think Davey Johnson has done, too, is manage National League style.
Yes.
Move the runners over. I don't know about you. I also like the advantage he has with that 12-man pitching staff with 3 left-handers down there. He could do some damage to the heart of Bobby's lineup.
Yeah, this Orioles team, a very well-balanced ball club. The Braves, a very well-balanced ball club. There have been some injury problems for Atlanta in this series. Those are getting better as Kenny Lofton returns to the lineup today. And it'll be Tom Glavine on the mound for Atlanta, Scott Erickson on the mound for Baltimore. Another great pitching matchup. Back with all the action from Turner Field right after this.
Atlanta Braves baseball, brought to you by Aflac, helping to fill the gaps left by your regular insurance. Aflac, insuring over 40 million people worldwide. By the 62,000 professionals at Delta Airlines, who proudly put you on top of the world. And by AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts.
Coming to a close this weekend, Game 3 of the series. Time for us to run through Game 3 starting lineup, brought to you today by Citgo. For the Orioles, it'll be center fielder Brady Anderson leading it off. At second base, Jeff Rebollet. Jeffrey Hammonds will play right field and bat third. The cleanup hitter, a fine first baseman, Rafael Palmeiro. Cal Ripken will bat fifth. B.J. Surhoff starts in left, will hit in the 6th spot. Catching today and batting 7th, it's Lenny Webster. The 8th place hitter for the Orioles, shortstop Mike Bordick. And completing the batting order, a right-handed pitcher, Scott Erickson. The Braves defense, the familiar look. We only found out at the last moment that a couple of players were ready to go, but it's the familiar starting 9. Plesko in left, Lofton in center. It's Michael Tucker in right. The infield, Chipper Jones at third, Blauser, Lemke, and McGriff all the way around to first. Javi Lopez is behind the plate. And on the mound, making his 14th start, 6-4 with a .313 earned run average. For Tom Glavine, 1997 got off to a fabulous start, a perfect 4-0 in his 6th. But May and June, not so kind. Part of that earned run average having to do with the problem that Tom had out in Colorado. But he is now 6-4. He's worked 92 innings with only 28 walks. The league hitting .239 against him. Umpiring crew today will line up like this. Randy Marsh will be ringing up the balls and strikes. Here's a look at Randy. Jeff Kellogg will be down at first. Harry Wendelstedt will be at second. And Paul Nauert will complete the umpiring crew. And certainly a couple of guys, Pete, you like to see out there in a pitching matchup. Glavine, one who can really stop a streak. But let's keep an eye on him in the first inning. 1/4 of his runs have come in the first inning that he's allowed.
Yeah, he doesn't have the same difficulty he used to have earlier in his career in the first inning, but occasionally first inning problems. Here's Brady Anderson, one of Baltimore's heroes yesterday, 312 with 7 homers. One of them he hit here in yesterday's game with a man aboard. He's driven in 37, 2 out of 9 in the series. Ball 1 the count, and Brady Anderson. Rebollet will follow, and then Jeffrey Hammonds. 1 ball, 1 strike. As has been the case throughout this series, not a whole lot of experience with these hitters against the opposing pitchers. The only 2 in the order today for the Orioles who have faced Glavine in regular season play, Rafael Palmeiro, and that was so long ago, and he probably doesn't remember, and Lenny Webster. The 1-1. 2-1 the count now on Brady Anderson.
Look how deep Brady Anderson stands in the batter's box. A little bit surprised against a guy who pitches down and who changes speeds.
Grounds 1 to first. Big hop for McGriff. Underhand toss, Glavine. 1 down. Anderson retired. That'll bring up second baseman Jeff Rebollet. Robbie Alomar not in the lineup today. He's got a bad left shoulder. It hurts him when he bats right-handed. It doesn't bother him at all batting left-handed. So Rebele gets to start today, batting just .203 with a homer and 9 RBIs. Former Minnesota Twin.
We were given the impression Friday night that Alomar would start, but he would bat left-handed.
Yeah, that's what they told us Friday. But after you know, usually a manager will make a judgment after you win the first 2 games. It's sometimes a good idea to give some of the guys who don't get a chance to play a little playing time. He's got Rebele in there today. He's got Lenny Webster in there catching today. Some of the backup players getting a chance to get in the lineup. Here's the 1-0. Changeup for a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And if you check Davy Johnson's reputation, he always has had the reputation of being a manager who uses all 25 men on that roster.
Jeffrey Hammond's waiting on deck as the 1-1 comes. Upstairs, ball 2. And now a 2-1 delivery, hit foul off to the right. That evens the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Orioles with 44 wins, only 19 losses this season. That's the best record in baseball right now. They're 8.5 games up on the New York Yankees in the AL East, and this is the final game of an 11-game trip. It'll be a winning trip for them by winning the first 2 games in this series. They're now 6-4 on their longest road trip of the year. Here's the 2-2. Off to the right again, still 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Braves lead over the Florida Marlins down to 3 games. Marlins and the Yankees got rained out last night. They'll play a day-night doubleheader today. Montreal 4.5 back. The Mets 5.5 back. So the NL East shaping up to be a little bit better race than a lot of people expected. Strike 3 call. Came inside with a fastball. Got him looking. 2 down.
Glavine has learned to do this so effectively, and the carryover effect is not only for Tom Glavine, but we're seeing Denny Nagel do it more and more. It's amazing how when you have a couple of pitchers with similar styles, they can play off of each other and learn from each other, and what is successful for one most of the time will work for the other one.
Now the right fielder Jeffrey Hammond's hitting .286, 7 homers and 20 RBIs. Just 1 hit in his last 11 at bats. He and Tony Tarasco have been sharing right field in the absence of Eric Davis. They had surgery performed on Eric Davis on Friday for what they originally diagnosed as a abdominal abscess, but apparently it turned out to be a little more serious than that. They said they found quite a large mass in there and had to remove part of his colon.
Yeah, about a third of it, I think.
Deep third, long throw. Chipper Jones got him. Good play. And Tom Glavine has a 1-2-3 top half of the first.
Good inning for the Braves defensively. Now it's their turn at home plate. Kenny Lofton to lead it off. Michael Tucker will bat second. Chipper Jones in the 3rd spot. The cleanup hitter Fred McGriff. Ryan Klesko will follow. Then Javi Lopez. Jeff Blauser to bat 7th. Mark Lemke 8th, and Tom Glavine will complete the batting order for Bobby Cox and the Atlanta Braves. The defense for the Baltimore Orioles, B.J. Surhoff in left. Anderson and Hammonds complete the outfield. Palmeiro, Ribbolette, Bordick and Ripking from 1st to 3rd. Lenny Webster, who is Erickson's personal catcher. Webster has caught 10 of Erickson's 12 starts. And here's a look at Erickson. Look at the numbers he has compiled since early August of last year. And Pete, get ready. He throws up some ground balls.
Starting to pitch the way he did back in his early years at Minnesota when he acquired that nickname, the Terminator. He won 13 for Baltimore last year, but lost 12. This year he's 9-2. Faced the Braves twice in the 1991 World Series, had no decisions in 2 starts with a 5.06 ERA. And back in the lineup for Atlanta, Kenny Lofton, missing a couple of days with back spasms.
He's a man that Erickson did not want to see in the lineup today.
Now he's hitting .381 lifetime against him over the American League, and the first pitch to Lofton is fouled back out of play. 0-1. 16 for 42, including a couple of home runs off Erickson.
Historically, Erickson, a guy, sinker slider, keeps the ball down, about a 3-to-1 ground out to fly out ratio.
Little chop toward short. Going to be a tough play for Bordick. That little juggle, will it be in time? No. That's all it took, that little juggle in the glove. And Lofton has it beat.
You mentioned the 2 home runs, but I wonder how many, with the style of pitching of Erickson, how many hits like that are the ones that are frustrating him. Watch the tricky hop. Little to the side. He had the quick glove. That's 2 steps he's taking. You got to figure Kenny Lofton is taking 3.
So leadoff single gets Lofton aboard. That'll bring up Michael Tucker, who's gone 2 for 9 in the series. Now has hit safely in 5 straight. He's another with some experience against Erickson. 2 for 6 lifetime. The only other Brave besides Lofton and Tucker with regular season at bats against Erickson, Fred McGriff. Erickson, easy to steal on. He does not have a real quick release to the plate, so you can get a good jump on him. So you might see him throw over to first a lot with a guy like Lofton aboard.
The combination of Erickson and Lenny Webster. Webster, quick release, but not really the strongest arm. So if Lofton is going to run, this is a combination he'd like to run against.
1 ball, no strikes on Michael Tucker. Chipper Jones on deck. Chipper was also doubtful coming into the game. There was a question about the groin injury that he re-aggravated yesterday, but he came to the ballpark feeling fine. Made a nice play in the top half of the inning. One ball, 1 strike on Michael Tucker. It's got to be a tough feeling if you're Bobby Cox, come to the ballpark, you start to fill out your lineup card, and they say, well, I can't be sure about Lofton, so I'll have to leave the number 1 spot blank for the moment. Can't put number 2 down because if Lofton can't play, I'll have to move Tucker up. Can't put number 3 down because I'm not sure if Chipper Jones is going to be able to play or not.
Doesn't leave you a whole lot of options. Remember, he only has 6 extra men and limited as to where they can play.
Nobody out. 1 ball, 1 strike on Tucker. That'll be out of play. It's 1-2.
See all that late movement on his fastball? Because he pitches down and because he gets so much movement down there, it might not surprise you to know that he leads their staff in wild pitches too.
One of the things Ray Miller has had him doing this year since coming over as the Orioles pitching coach is changing speeds a little more. He felt he'd gotten into a pattern of throwing almost everything at the same speed, either that hard sinker or that hard slider. He's got him throwing a few more off-speed pitches. Keep the hitters a bit off stride. Knocked down by Palmeiro. They'll get the out at second, and maybe all. It will be all.
Pete, today's game is a part of the CapCure Home Run Challenge. CapCure, the Association for the Cure of Cancer of the Prostate, is committed to finding a cure for the disease that affects 1 in 5 of Americans. Each home run hit during today's game will mean at least $35,000 will go directly to prostate cancer research. If you'd like information about reducing the risk of prostate cancer, or if you want to pledge your support for CapCure, the number 1-800-547-CURE. And if you're over 50, get a checkup every year.
Here's Chipper Jones, 288, 5-game hitting streak, 8 homers, 47 RBIs in the year. 3 for 9 in this series. Tucker at first now, 1 out. Out toward second. To Bordick for 1, on to first with another play. So both pitchers off to impressive starts. No score after 1.
Retransmission. Well, the pictures are descriptions of this game without the express written consent of the Atlanta National League Baseball Club is prohibited.
Tom Glavine had a 1-2-3 first. Now he goes to work on Rafael Palmeiro, leading off the second. 287, 13 homers, 47 RBIs. And he's had a good series. He's gone 4 for 9, including a home run. Hit safely now in 14 of his last 15 games. Been a hot hitter for the Orioles.
On a
ball, 1 strike.
Ball club where offense is so important, and the fact that he has been so good offensively, overlooked is the fact that he is a pretty slick glove at first.
He's made some sensational plays in this series.
And a nice man.
Here's the 1-1. Half an ease for a called strike, 1-2. As we said, Palmeiro had 4 at bats against Tom Glavine. He was with the Chicago Cubs, but Tom Glavine not the same pitcher now that he was early on in his career. Here's the 1-2 on the ground, right side, knocked down by Lemke. Now he recovers on the first in time. Good recovery by Mark Lemke. 4 in a row, set down now by Glavine.
That either becomes a hit and error about the first step after it hits the glove right there. A guy who panics won't make that play, but Mark Lemke kept the ball where he could find it and caught it right on the first hop. So you got a split second right there. That's the difference in making that play and having yourself an error.
That'll bring up Cal Ripken, hitting .288, 10 homers and 44 RBIs. He has been a hit his first swing through Atlanta in an Orioles uniform. He's 3 for 9. After a 12-inning, nearly 5-hour game yesterday, Ripken went out to one of the local malls to autograph his new book, which debuted this week, number 13 on the New York Times bestseller list. It's called The Only Way I Know. It's his autobiography.
Unless people think it was a mercenary action, he was doing it for a charity.
Yes, all the money's raised in the sale of the book will go to charity. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Out of play, right side, 2-1.
He's a guy who has continued to play for a number of reasons. He's been very fortunate, but he always takes care of himself. He's in as good a shape now as the first time I ever saw him, but he has made adjustments as a hitter as he's gone along. He hasn't tried to do it the same way over and over, and that's how he has maintained the ability to hit even at this stage.
Now the 2-1 delivery. Grounded again, this time toward short. Blauser near the bag. 2 down. And 5 in a row set down by Tom Glavine. 4 of them on ground balls, 1 on a strikeout. And now B.J. Surhoff, who is the Orioles' leading hitter, batting .338 with 8 homers and 42 RBIs, 1 out of 5 in the series.
A lot of that hitting coming lately. I think he's about .370 for the last 3 weeks.
One ball, no strikes on Surhoff. No score. We're in the top half of inning 2. 2 outs. That catches the corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. Outside corner again. 1-2. Came inside, but too far inside. 2-2. Here's a look at Surhoff the last 3 weeks. Another infield ground ball. Another 1-2-3 inning. We go to the bottom half of the second. Still no score.
Close.
Fred McGriff, Ryan Klesko, and Javi Lopez due up here in the bottom of the second against Scott Erickson. McGriff 0 for his last 10 now, batting .273, 9 homers. Another ground ball. Hope the infielders slept well tonight, or last night rather.
Yeah, they're going to be busy.
They will sleep well tonight with these 2 pitchers, Glavine and Erickson, going. 1 down. Ryan Klesko, the hitter.
And Baltimore has not changed a single thing that they've been doing to Fred McGriff. They're just staying right on that outside corner.
They've done that this entire series, basically every pitch. Klesko 1 for 9 in the series. Not at all happy with the way he's been hitting of late. Hitting .244. They've done the same thing to Klesko. They've stayed away from him. He has 11 home runs, 32 RBIs. He's happy with the power numbers, but not with the batting average. Takes a strike, 0-1. Into left field. That's more what Ryan Klesko has been looking to do, the way they've been pitching him. Like Fred McGriff, they've kept everything away, and Ryan has gotten into a habit, he said, of trying to pull everything. A lot of infield ground balls, mostly to second base.
And that's exactly what a sinker ball pitcher wants you to do. This is not what he wants you to do. Step in, guide the ball in the right field. Every now and then, even a power hitter, and Ryan even doing a little flat-footed hitting now. Every now and then, a power hitter has to make some concessions against a guy who is so successful as Erickson is pitching one way.
Second hit of the game off Erickson. It'll bring up Javi Lopez, who's been the Braves' hottest hitter of late. An 8-game hitting streak, matching his career high. The average up to 306 now, and he leads the club in homers with 12.
He's a guy who could do some damage to Erickson, too. He is a better low ball hitter.
1 ball, no strikes.
In the era of the matchups, lefty against lefty and righty against righty, it might surprise you that left-handers are hitting about 50 points lower against Erickson than right-handers are, so they've given him the most trouble.
Up the middle, base hit center field. Plesko takes the turn, big turn. He'll hold on, though, as Brady Anderson runs the ball back toward the infield. First and second now with 1 out for Jeff Blauser. Blauser comes in at .338, 2 out of 9 in the series. He has 7 homers. Nine-game hitting streak now for Javi Lopez, the longest of his career. Play 0-1. Want to wish all the dads out there watching a happy Father's Day. I'm sure a lot of youngsters have brought their dads out to Turner Field today.
And from those of us that you are wishing a happy Father's Day, the same to you, too.
And to you. Now there's a pair, an Oriole hat on the youngster and a Braves cap on the dad. That'll cause some good dinner time talk.
Yep, some serious negotiations.
0-2, the count on Blauser.
Erickson coming upstairs a little bit on Jeff Blauser, not going so much vertically, not meaning to pitch down, but trying to keep it in on Blauser's hands.
Lopez and Plesko, your runners at first and second, 1 out. Notice anything different about Jeff Blauser in that batter's box? He has gone to the gloves. All season long, Blauser was hitting with no gloves, trying to get a little better feel.
So I guess now the last one left without gloves is Freddie Couples, huh?
Looks that way. Tried to stop his swing, couldn't. First strikeout of the game for Erickson, out number 2 here in the top of the second.
What a nasty pitch. A guy who pitches down with a sinker so much coming back to you. Starts one over the outside corner, same plane, about the same area that you expect a sinker, but it goes the other way. That's a perfect 2-strike pitch.
Now Mark Lemke hitting .228 on the year with a couple of homers. He's 2 out of 9 in the series. One ball, no strikes on Mark. Another ground ball. And that's all for Atlanta in the second. To get a couple of base hits, leave a couple of runners. Still no score as we head to the third on this Father's Day. The third, Lenny Webster, Mike Bordick, and Scott Erickson do up against Tom Glavine. Another sellout here today. The crowds for this entire weekend have been outstanding, and they have seen some pretty good battles the first 2 days of this series. That 12-inning duel yesterday, the Orioles winning it 6-4, and the 4-3 Baltimore victory on Friday night to open this series. Standing room tickets went on sale an hour before each game. They were gobbled up.
And it's coming at a time when it's starting to feel like summertime. I mean, we had
Yes, the
cool
summertime weather finally arrived here.
Baseball weather.
Lenny Webster leading it off, hitting just 185 with a homer and 10 RBIs. He's had a lot of experience against Glavine when he played with Montreal. 3 out of 17 lifetime. Takes a strike, 0-1. Here's the 0-1 on the way outside. 1 ball, 1 strike on Webster. Mike Bordick will follow. And then the pitcher, Scott Erickson. Now the 1-1 on the way, missing low and away. 2-1. Glavine's retired the first 6, 5 on infield grounders. Off the end of the bat, and it's even now on Webster. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Braves head for Toronto after this game. Open up a series tomorrow night against Roger Clemens.
4 days in a row of marquee pitching matchups.
Braves have had their work cut out for them the last 4 days. Orioles will be home tomorrow night against Montreal. Outside corner, strike 3 called. Second strikeout for Tom Glavine. Well, Don, as you mentioned earlier on in the game this entire weekend, home runs going out of the ballpark, raising money for the Cap Cure Home Run Challenge. And joining us is Michael Milken, who's a big part of this program. And Michael, first of all, welcome to Turner Field. Good to have you here. And tell us a little bit about how this program began and where it's going.
In all the ballparks throughout the United States and Canada, we have $50,000 pledged for every home run, 56 games starting on Friday and ending Wednesday.
Why did you select baseball for an event like this?
Well, I played a lot of Little League myself. I kind of hold a record with Don Baylor. I was the most hit batter in Little League. He was the most hit batter in the majors. And he's been great. And it's families and Father's Day and getting the families out to the ballpark. And prostate cancer is the most prevalent cancer in America today. And the theme is keep your dad in the games.
Do you have a goal out there? How much would you like to raise during this
We're
week?
Anticipating about 100 home runs. We're right on target. We'll raise about $5 million.
I could have stuck around a little longer. I could have jacked that total up for you.
2 gone. Scott Erickson, the batter, his first at bat, of course, of the year. And this interleague weekend, the count 0-1. And of course, besides the money raise, this is also a great way to get the public a little more aware of this whole program.
It's a great awareness program, and General Schwarzkopf has done a tremendous job in our public service announcements throughout the country. But we've had pitchers hit home run yesterday in the Mets game.
Yeah, Mark Clark hit one yesterday.
So helping on both sides, huh?
It's his first hit, I think, in 2 years, and that was $50,000 for prostate cancer research.
Well, it's a great cause, and it's a great tying in with Father's Day weekend. It turned out the first weekend of interleague play when the attendance has been at a peak this year. And congratulations on the effort. Congratulations on the money raised, and keep it up.
Right, and our goal really is to try to get the families together over the Father's Day week.
Well, I think you're doing that very well. You see so many kids here with their dads and enjoying the ball game.
That's a strikeout for Glavine. Another 1-2-3 inning. He is retired 9 straight. Michael Milken, thank you very much for stopping by and joining us. Congratulations on the effort on the Cap Cure program. We'll be talking more about it as the game progresses. No score as we head to the bottom of the 3rd. Still no score as this one begins, just like the other ones have, with the pitchers dominating. Look at the opening game in this series when it was Greg Maddux against Jimmy Key. Nobody broke through with a run in that game until the 6th inning. Braves got a couple of early runs yesterday, but that one settled into a 2-0 game over the first 6 innings. Well, thank you, Lawsonville, North Carolina, although I'm not sure that's the Papa Pete they're referring to. And it'll be Tom Glavine leading off here in the bottom of the 3rd. He's hitting .217, 5-23. He'll be followed by Kenny Lofton and then Michael Tucker.
Sorry, Pete, to delay it. I was trying to get a couple of stock tips.
Tommy Lasorda also was up in the booth. He's working on that program as well as Michael Milken and a lot of other celebrities who have pledged their effort to the cause.
It's important, and as you pointed out to him, and he did too, especially on a Father's Day weekend.
Here's the 0-1 now to Glavine. Outside corner, 0-2.
You know, I don't know that I've seen him before, but I have never met Michael Milken before, but he is very gung-ho about this, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Well, he's a survivor himself. Toward short where Bordick fields and throws in time. They've had a magazine ad running, which they gave us a copy of. And among the celebrity names on the "We Survived" is the
pretty good collection.
Is the headline on the ad, and you've got Michael Milken, Jerry Lewis, Stan Musial, Bob Watson, General Schwarzkopf, Marv Levy, Robert Goulet, Senator Dole, Harry Belafonte.
And all of them very active in the awareness weekend.
Lofton a base hit off Erickson first time up. Tried to go the other way. He saw Cal Ripken charging in at third. He tried to knock one right past him. Little gamesmanship here.
Did you see how he did it, though? He took a little step like he was going to try to bunt.
He drew Ripken in even one step closer.
Yep.
And then swung away. 0-1. And he takes a strike in the outside corner. Nothing to do. By the way, this game for Cal Ripken is the 2,380th consecutive game he has played. Give you one more little tidbit about that after this pitch to Lofton. The streak for Ripken began on May 30th, 1982 against the Toronto Blue Jays, managed by Bobby Cox. So Bobby was in the opposing dugout to watch the beginning of the streak. And here he is 15 years later. Ripken still hasn't missed a game. Second strikeout for Erickson, 2 down.
Think about how many ways that you can. How many times have you seen a guy? Well, I got my hand slammed in a cab.
Yeah. Not even baseball injuries.
No, not baseball. Really. I slipped.
The flu.
Picking up the baby. A number of things.
Here's Michael Tucker.
He's a pretty amazing man.
Tucker hit into a 3-6 force play. Sharply hit ground ball, but right at Rabelais. And it's another 1-2-3 inning. No scores. We head to the fourth. Was the only player to hit 200 home runs in both leagues.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Have the answer for you in the next half inning. We go to the fourth. It'll be the top of the order. Still no score, Don.
All right, Pete, thank you very much. Anderson, Rebellette, and Hammonds. I bet that guy played part of the time for Baltimore. Anderson sends it to left center field, but Lofton on the move. Glides under it. 1 pitch, 1 out for Tom Glavine in the fourth inning. Glavine has faced 10. He has set down 10. And he has been ahead in the count. He has kept the Orioles hitters off stride. He will face Jeff Rebellette for the second time.
Yeah, both these pitchers in total control. Glavine 38 pitches, 25 of them strikes. Erickson 26 pitches, 21 of them strikes.
The average at 200, he is 1 out of his last 13. But only hitting about 130 for the last month. So the hits have come few and far between for Jeff Rebellette. Starts him with a strike, and it's 0-1. Upstairs. I was interested in when I first heard about Jeff Rebellette to see if he was from Louisiana, because it sounds like a name that might have some French connections. He is out of Dayton, Ohio. Actually, Kettering, Alter High School in Kettering. The college in River Grove, Illinois. A little looper to right field. Late break by Tucker. He's got to hurry, and he can't get to it. Off the end of the bat, the spell is broken. After 10 in a row, Rebellette bloops a single to right. First hit of the day for the Orioles.
And after all those ground balls in the first 3 innings, a couple of fly balls here in the fourth. This one right off the end of the bat. Tucker was playing over toward right center field. Wasn't really playing that deep, but over toward right center more. And couldn't quite catch up with it.
So a runner at first for Jeffrey Hammonds. Who brought a pretty good resume into professional baseball. not only as an athlete. Ball went upstairs because he is out of Stanford, and you cannot be. They take that term student athlete very seriously.
Yes, they do.
A history major while he was at Stanford. Two and 0.
Another one of those athletes who had his pick of sports when he was in high school. He was a star football player as well. By the time he was a junior, he had letters of recruiting from Notre Dame, Michigan, UCLA, Miami, and Virginia.
Let me tell you something else he is doing. You see it more and more. So many baseball players are involved in charitable events, and rightly so. Go to first, but rebel that back. My mom used to say it's reasonable rent for the space you occupy. But he is involved in a program in Baltimore that encourages kids to read, 4th and 5th grade students. And each kid is required to read 10 books and write a book report on each of those during the time that they're involved in their baseball season. In the air to center. Lofton positioned almost perfectly. And there is out number 2. So after a string of strikeouts and groundouts, the first 2 outs here in the 4th inning recorded by Kenny Lofton. And here's Rafael Palmeiro. First time up, he hit the ball sharply, but right at Mark Lemke.
And you're on the subject of charities. His favorite charity that gets donated money for every home run he hits is the Juvenile Diabetes Foundation. So a lot of these players get involved in a lot of charitable causes.
It's
almost all of them, in
yeah,
fact.
I was going to say it's almost impossible to find a star now who is not putting something back into the community through those projects. Didn't get the high fastball. No balls in 1 strike. Originally with the Cubs, and came along at a time when the Cubs had 2 good-feeling first basemen of similar characteristics. Bart Grace may be more of a line drive doubles hitter, but was passed on to the Texas Rangers in a multiplayer trade. Squirter off the end of the bat. There's the ground ball out. The short way to Lemke. And Glavine gives up the bloop single. Nothing else. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 left. To the bottom of the 4th, still no score.
Answer now to today's Aflac trivia question. Here was the question. Who was the only player to hit 200 home runs in both leagues? How many of you got Frank Robinson? It's part of that time spent, of course, with the Baltimore Orioles back in some of their glory years, 1966 through 71. He had 586 career homers. He was on those Oriole teams back in the mid to late 60s with Brooks Robinson and Boog Powell, Paul Blair, and those great pitching staffs with Jim Palmer and Dave McNally. Those are some great teams.
And a youngster who doesn't like a pitching duel, wants more offense. Pitchers have dominated. Chipper Jones up for his 2nd time. McGriff and Klesko to follow. Another ground ball and another good play by Mike Bordy. We were told Friday night.
That's his play. That's the best. He may be the best at his position in going to his left. Up the middle, he covers as much ground, they tell us, as any shortstop around. And there's a great example of it right here.
That's a tough throw. Getting there to catch it is only half of that equation. Quickly 1 out in the 4th inning. Here's Fred McGriff. He tested Bordick his first time up. Came up with a 0. And they're staying right outside on Fred.
They haven't moved, have they?
No balls in 1 strike. About what you would expect out of 2 guys who pitch down in the strike zone. There's another grounder and another pitch in the same spot. 8 ground ball outs, 2 gone quickly in the 4th inning.
He's only thrown 29 pitches in this game.
And 23 strikes.
24.
These are Maddox-like numbers. I think sometimes we get spoiled. We only see these other pitchers on TV and players, so we have a healthy respect for the guys we see over and over, but we're not aware that there is a guy like an Erickson. Another comebacker, another ground ball. Not a whole lot of pitches and 3 ground ball outs. Erickson dominates the Braves in the 4th. 1, 2, 3 they go through 4, no score.
Going to the 5th inning here. Game 1 of a day-night doubleheader, and look what, it is raining again in Florida. With the Marlins leading the Yankees 3-0 after 1. That's Pat Rapp against Kenny Rogers. Other games today, Detroit, Montreal. They're tied at 1 in the 1st inning. Moeller against Juden in that one. Toronto got 4 in the 1st off of Philadelphia's Mark Leiter. Pat Henkin pitching that game for Toronto. Braves will miss him in that series. And Kansas City behind Kevin Apier's taking a 2-0 lead there in the top half of the second. Steve Cook on the mound for the Pirates. And all the other games get underway a little bit later. That's the one problem they could have, Don, with this all of this interleague interest, and it certainly has been interest in it this weekend, with attendance up about a third all over baseball. But with each team going into the other city only once, and only for one 3-game series, the first big weather problem they've encountered now is in Florida. They got rained out last night. They've got a day-night doubleheader scheduled between the Yankees and the Marlins today. If they have rain problems with that, there's no second chance. There's no trip back in.
No way to make it up. We're having a little extra time because Tom Glavine took a little time coming out. Talking about worthwhile projects, it could be a time for us to remind you that the Braves Wives have produced volume 3 of their popular cookbook, From Home Plate to Home Cooking. It'll be available June 25th. It features favorite family recipes from the players, coaches, front office, and even the broadcasters. And I see your hot fudge sundae cake is in there, Pete.
Oh, yeah.
You can purchase those at the Braves Clubhouse stores at CNN Center, North Point Mall, or just call the Braves Merchandise Department. Proceeds from that cookbook will benefit the Georgia Center for Children. We're all set to go. Top of the 5th inning. Cal Ripken will lead it off. B.J. Surhoff, and then Lenny Webster. Kids' Day at the ballpark. First one from Glavine outside, 1-0. Ripken, his first time up, grounded to short. Tried to reach out and hook a tailing fastball from Glavine. Sends this one out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. Yeah, this is baseball weather. You get the popcorn clouds out there and temperature in the 80s.
Much less humid today than it was yesterday when we had a lot of rain around.
In the air, shallow center. Blauser with the sunglasses down. Side saddles it. That's a tough play. And there's out number 1.
If you were in Atlanta yesterday, you know it rained hard all morning, and it rained hard from late in the afternoon, early evening on. If you want to know exactly how long the rain stopped, it was approximately 4 hours and 54 minutes. Just the time it took to get that game in. It was raining almost right up till game time, and it opened up again almost the minute that game ended.
Here's B.J. Surhoff. He tested Blauser his last time up, a grounder. Jeff made the play. Glavine starts him with a strike, 0-1. B.J. Surhoff, originally a high pick by the Milwaukee Brewers. A lot of people were surprised when the Brewers wanted to convert him either to an infielder or to an outfielder, but they really shouldn't have been. He was originally a shortstop, and it was in college that they thought catching was his position. So another one of those versatile athletes who can play a number of positions, but probably most comfortable in left field. Out of play, 1-2. Out of one of the University of North Carolina colleges, wasn't he, Pete? Universities.
Yep, up to Chapel Hill.
Braves shade him toward the left side. That's where he hits it, but nobody's going to catch up with this one. Lofted over to cut it off in a hurry. Surhoff is thinking too, and he'll get it standing. Perfectly placed to left center. A 1-out double will put B.J. Surhoff at second base for Lenny Webster.
Perfectly placed and then perfectly played by Kenny Lofton, who made this a closer than expected play at second base. Lofton gets over there, cuts it off in the gap, keeps it from getting by. Barehanded grab, 360-degree turn, and a strike to second base. If he had gotten it a little bit closer to the bag, he might have had a play on that runner.
Good hustle and a good play by Kenny Lofton, but the Orioles have a runner in scoring position for the first time. Webster struck out looking his first time, having busted one on the inside corner after getting him 2 strikes. Down and away, 1 ball, no strikes. Webster now makes his home in Fayetteville, just down the freeway here a little ways. There's ball 2. Started with the Twins. He has played some in Montreal, played some in Philadelphia, then went back to Montreal. As a journeyman catcher, he has put together a pretty decent career.
Yes, he has.
Seems like a guy like him, you always find him on a ball club as the second catcher because he can fill in some other spots too. Squirted to McGriff. Climbs his arm, but Glavine is there to complete it. And there is out number 2 on the play. Surhoff moves over to third. He'll stand there for Mike Bordick.
Remember last year when Jeff Blauser was injured? Leo Mazzoni coming out now to have a word with Tom Glavine. And they may talk about walking Bordick here with a pitcher who never hits in the American League due up next. But speaking of Bordick, I remember last year when Jeff Blauser got hurt and the Braves were debating. They moved Chipper Jones over to shortstop for a while. Then they signed Terry Pendleton. But there was some talk about maybe going out and acquiring a shortstop. Rafael Belliard, of course, played some games there, too. And one of the guys that was available was Bordick. But the asking price was a little high from Oakland, so they didn't make any move for him.
And Oakland was actively shopping him because they were figuring
they knew they were going to lose him.
Meeting over, it was a brief one.
See if they pitch to him.
And I think they're going to put him on. Javi Lopez just signaled into the dugout, 4 fingers, so it is going to be an intentional walk. Be the first walk issued by Tom Glavine, and only the 29th in right at 100 innings. So Glavine's control has been excellent this year.
Well, this makes sense. You're not even rolling the dice in a spot like this. You've got a pitcher that never hits, who struck out his first time up, is going to be put on the spot here. Although the pitchers have done okay for themselves from the American League in this interleague weekend, this first weekend of interleague play. Mike Mussina, base hit his first time up yesterday. Omar Olivares had 2 hits, including a triple, but of course he had a lot of hitting experience over in the National League before moving over to Detroit.
Somebody Friday night got their first career hits. Can't remember who it was, though. And there is the 400 hitting John Smoltz observing this move, probably thinking, you know, they wouldn't have done that if I had been batting ninth. First time up, he struck out swinging, did Erickson. Runners at the corners, 2 gone. Chipper Jones creeps in at third. Strike 1. I think Glavine might have discovered something on that pitch. Erickson might have trouble with thrown balls. 2 of them. I would guess there won't be anything fancy with this, will you? Surhoff at third, Webster at first, 1 and 2. Bordick at first.
Got a good eye.
Maybe his best bet. Wow.
Well, you see where the target is. Had to reach a little bit, and that probably cost him the call. Looked like it was outside.
That'll do it. So the strategy pays off. Glavine leaves them stranded at the corner. We're halfway home. It's all pitching today. Nothing to score.
Inning, a brilliant pitchers match up today. No score.
And the outfielders having very little to do because both pitchers are getting a lot of ground balls in this one, and they're living up to advance notices.
Scott Erickson's 12 outs he has recorded have all either been by ground ball out or strikeouts. And a happy Father's Day to you wherever you may be, and a happy Father's Day to my dad, Grady Simpson, out in Norman, Oklahoma. Hope you're watching today, and I know you are. Where's your dad working today?
This is against Milwaukee in Chicago, I think. Yeah.
Don't forget about Mom, too, I guess. Nice sign. And Meg Simpson out watching the game with her dad today. She was here to check out someone else, though, actually. She wanted to see Mr. Ripken, like so many other people who came to the park this weekend.
Including some of the announcers, myself included.
Yep. For the Braves, Javi Lopez, Jeff Blauser, and Mark Lemke. Lopez extended his hitting streak to a career-high 9 games with a base hit in the second inning. 0-1. Erickson, a ground ball pitcher. 75% of the balls that are put in play against him are grounders.
You know, Joe, I was for interleague play, even though I thought it would take a little away maybe from the World Series.
The 1-1 pitch, out of play.
But having watched this series, and Baltimore has won the first 2 games, both nip and tuck games, and so is this one. I think, if anything, if, for example, these 2 teams met in the World Series, it would make it even more interesting, because you would have had the closely contested games in June, and people would be looking back. And
another grounder and a tough play for Bordick, and got him. 1 out.
You know, they'll come back and analyze these 3 games, and then you look ahead to October. And even if Baltimore wins today, it's going to be another well-contested game, and it's just going to make for, I think, more interest. So I'm more for interleague play now than I was when it started.
You know, and it's just fodder, too. You know, people are going to be talking about it.
Sure.
Even during the period where you go back to playing within your own league, about the games that went on in this interleague period. Blauser sends a drive into center. Anderson got a great jump and runs it down. Something else about this, too. I mean, the competition's one thing, but the opportunity to see these good players like a Brady Anderson. Everybody heard about his 50 home runs. Nobody really knows that much about his defensive play in the National League, and he's a fine outfielder.
And Rafael Palmeiro, same thing. Even watching Mike Bordick, you know, it's a name you just heard. Now you see what a really outstanding shortstop he is defensively.
Mark Lemke grounded to second his first time up. That line drive out, the first out recorded outside of the infield by the Orioles. Tough play for Riboulet. Rolls, got him. He ain't too shabby either.
No, sir.
3 up and 3 down. Take another look at it. No score after 5.
It's the Batman and Robin Super Blast on the Superstation.
The pitchers have been the story in this game. Erickson has thrown just 36 pitches, 30 of them strikes, and Glavine has matched him pitch for pitch. That's your Budweiser game summary. It's a scoreless game, Joe.
Yeah, it's easy to summarize zeros today. And for the Orioles, Brady Anderson leads off the inning with a clean base hit to center. He is a first pitch swinging leadoff hitter. Second hit of the day, make it the 3rd hit of the day for Baltimore.
These guys are really a good team, and they've got maybe the deepest bullpen. I think our starting pitching, we might be a little bit stronger, but I think their bullpen is a little bit stronger.
Their bullpen's very deep. Davey Johnson does carry 12 pitchers, and they are in good roles down there in the bullpen. Ray Miller's done a good job of helping Davey mold these guys into the best bullpen in the American League.
Boy, that Arthur Rhodes, wow, he was tough yesterday.
Braves got nothing off of him in 3 innings. Riboulet, the hitter, he has singled in 2 trips. Leadoff man aboard. No score, so let's see how the Orioles play it if they try to move Anderson along. Second baseman chokes up on the bat, and he's going to drop a bunt down. It's a good one. Glavine has to wait for Lemke to get there. I think that took the Braves by surprise. And Davey Johnson certainly aware that 1 run means a lot at this stage, trying to get someone in scoring position, and he does for Jeffrey Hammonds.
The other thing about their team you have to like is their defense. Boy, virtually all their players are outstanding defensive players. Their whole infield is terrific.
Through the 5th inning of game 1, there was no score. Through the 5th inning yesterday, the Braves had a 2-0 lead, so not much happened in the first half, just as today's game is scoreless through 5. Hammonds is grounded out, flied out. They've got good balance. You know, most American League teams, you start thinking about how they're just all home run oriented, 3-run homer oriented. These guys have some speed. They can play some hit and run, as we saw in game 1. Off of Lopez, 0-2. And like the Braves, they have their RBI spread out among several guys. Scott Erickson dealing, as Skip told you, only 36 pitches through 5 innings, and on a muggy day, that's good. The 0-2 kept him honest inside. The Orioles, too, Skip, are in the midst of a real brutal stretch in their schedule. 20 games in 20 days, and 17 of those are on the road.
Ooh.
They're 6-4 on this road trip. They go home for 3 with Montreal, then right back on another road trip, kind of like the Braves. 2-2.
That was close there.
Glavine thought he had him struck out. I think Bobby thought so too.
I believe he did. But it looked like it was just a little outside.
Javi just had to reach for it a little bit. The 2-2 pitch. Got him to chase one. Down and away. Good changeup. Glavine has his 5th strikeout. And now he's got to get Palmeiro.
Twice as many pitches.
I would not have guessed that Glavine had thrown that many.
Me either.
In 72, certainly not a bad total in the 6th inning.
But the 36 is absolutely sensational.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Palmeiro has grounded out and hit into a fielder's choice 0 for 2. 7 of his 13 home runs this year have come against left-handed pitching, including one yesterday off of Embry. Here's another guy. I'm sure Pete and Don were raving about him too, but what a good hitter he is and has been throughout his career. The 1-0 pitch. Ooh, a little outside, I guess. 2-0. Palmeiro's year last year, of course, overshadowed by the 50 home runs of Brady Anderson, but all he did was hit 39 homers for the 2nd straight year and drive in 142.
It's not too shabby.
Scored 110 also. Yeah, that's pretty good. 2-0 pitch. Out of play.
He uses the whole field, doesn't he? Doesn't try to pull every pitch.
He's got great hands and wrists. It's not a armsy swing. He just gets the head of the bat out through the strike zone so quick using his hands. Hands are so vital to a good quick swing, and he is a perfect example of it. 3-1.
You're not going to visit a farm when we go to Canada, are you?
No, nor am I taking any fruits and
That's
vegetables.
good. Boy, they get mad at immigration if you do that.
To Sky Dome tomorrow. Denny Nagel and Roger Clemens. 3-1 pitch. He walked him. Glavine didn't give him much to hit. He had first base open, and even though Palmeiro is a left-handed hitter, a lot of respect for him, and now he'll have to deal with Ripken. Second walk for Glavine, but the first, that was unintentional. Ripken is 3 for 11 in the series, 0 for 2 today. Just another routine day for Cal yesterday, a 12-inning contest and then a book signing at the end of the day. All one.
Yeah, most people, when you get on the road, you're desperately looking for something to do while you kill the long hours waiting for the game. I don't think he has that problem.
No, I think he gets tugged at each sleeve. The 1-0 pitch. Just missed. 2-0. Braves left first and second in the 2nd inning, didn't score. The Orioles had first and third in the 5th inning and did not score. And now first and second and 2 out. Out of play. And even on a 2-0 pitch, Glavine didn't give in to him, and Ripken went after a pitch that might have been off the plate a little bit. We mentioned going to Toronto. Joe Carter of the Blue Jays picked up his 2,000th career hit today. We'll see former Braves Otis Nixon and Charlie O'Brien tomorrow. 2-1 pitch. Hit hard, but right at McGriff. Nice play. That's a double into the corner and scores 2 runs if he doesn't grab that one. Sometimes you got to have a little luck, too. Glavine gets out of this one. No runs. 1 hit, 2 left. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Still no score. Super movie. Boo Radley, Dill, Scout. Great characters in that one. Bottom of the 6th, Tom Glavine, Kenny Lofton, and Michael Tucker. Pitch number 37 for Erickson, and we're in the 6th inning.
You'd think by now he could throw the ball over the plate.
No runs, 3 hits for each side. Not a bad idea. Glavine shows bunt. It's outside 2-0. Erickson had a good start and a win against Boston his last time out, but the 2 starts prior to that, he had struggled. Last 2 starts, he'd gone 10 innings, 19 hits, and 13 runs, so he obviously had been getting the ball up a little bit. That one's up, 3-0. This guy's 17-4, dating back to last August. 3-0 to Glavine. Automatic, 3-1. See if Tommy takes another one. They shade him toward left to the off field. He was taking, and it's inside. There's a good start to the 6th. First free pass for Atlanta. And it's to the pitcher, and that really aggravates Erickson. And let's see if that bothers him when he works to the next couple of hitters.
He's holding a little team meeting with himself out there now. He is upset.
I think he was the first guy to wear those solid dark socks instead of stirrup socks. He's the first one I remember doing that when he arrived with the Twins a few years ago. Set a little fashion trend. Lofton tried to bunt but missed. 1-1. Orioles played for 1 run in the top of the inning with a sacrifice. Bobby Cox thinking the same way. Ripken playing about 60 feet away. He's playing a softball third base. Lofton's bunting again, but it leaves the box a little too soon, and now he's in the hole 0-2.
Before you joined us, Joe, when Ted Simmons was on our club, he would play some guys, I swear, 35 feet from home plate and totally psych them out. They would try so hard to hit the ball by him, you could just see their swing fall apart.
Yeah. With 2 strikes, Ripken's going to back up even with the bag, but that doesn't mean Lofton won't bunt. He is so good at it. But he's hacking and sends a fly ball to left. Surhoff drifting back has it. 1 out. So Lofton's 1 for 3 on the afternoon, and now Tucker up looking for his first hit. He's 0 for 2.
A nightmare developing down in Florida, I guess. It's raining. In the 2nd inning of that game, they have another game scheduled for tonight. A day-night doubleheader. Things not going too well.
No.
They're playing fine baseball. I don't mean that. I just mean got rained out last night, delayed today.
Nice play by Palmeiro to save Erickson as he almost threw that pitch away over to first. Tucker 2 for 11 in the series. Foul. You know, we said at the beginning of the first game of this series that everybody's average would probably take a beating here, and you just try to figure out how to pick up some wins. The Orioles have done that in 2 closely contested contests, and yes, everybody's average has suffered.
Yeah, the pitchers have dominated.
This sellout crowd trying to get something started. And there's a good way to do it. A base hit to right. Glavine waited to make sure the ball went through, so he's going to stop at second. Braves again have runners at first and second and one out now for Chipper Jones, who along with Javi Lopez has had the hottest bat for Atlanta. Chipper 3 for 11 in the series, including that 0 for 2 today, but a home run and a double yesterday. And has 8 RBIs in his last 4 games. The pitcher Glavine at second, Tucker at first. Checked his swing, 1-0. Pitch, slice to left. That'll get down. Fair ball into the corner. Glavine's going to score. Tucker got a great jump off of first. He's being waved home. Surhoff chasing it around in the corner. What's happened down there? Chipper stopped at second, but I don't know that he needed to. And now they are ruling a ground rule double as Paul Nauert went down there to see what happened. That's going to cost the Braves a run, at least temporarily.
Give Nauert credit. He really hustled on the play. Looked like that. Maybe there's a gate down there that's not all the way shut or something. And that's where the ball apparently went. Nice shot, Chipper, but it's a shame you couldn't have hit a little bit to either side of it.
Well, it had to have fit just perfectly in that little crack. Had some English on it.
Right out of our way.
Surhoff immediately threw his hands up. Man, was Tucker flying around third.
He would have scored anyway. That's a terrible break for Atlanta.
But it puts Atlanta on top. The double by Chipper puts runners at second and third and one out, and McGriff the hitter, and that brings Davy Johnson out of the dugout. For Chipper, his 48th RBI of the year, and he leads the ball club in that category.
Look at Tucker run here, but it's all for nothing.
He was off to the races from first base. He is fun to watch run.
They're talking about whether they want to pitch to McGriff or take their chances with Klesko. Both have struggled here lately.
Well, in this series especially. McGriff is 0 for 10. He has hit only 1 ball out of the infield in this series. Klesko has a base hit today. He's 1 for 2. And it looks like they're going to take their chances with Ryan.
Yeah, they set up the double play here.
And that's the reason for this, just to try to get out and avoid a big inning.
All this delay is good for Glavine, who had to circle the bases on this hot day. He can get a little rest.
Pretty good hitting by Chipper Jones, making an adjustment after grounding out a couple of times. Just started thinking about trying to hit Erickson the other way and painted one right near the stripe. When a guy has a good sinker like that and has such good control with it, if you don't adjust, you're just going to beat the ball in the ground all day long. And Chipper's been hot. Klesko 1 for 2 today. He's 2 for 11 in the series with 5 strikeouts. And the Braves are making Erickson work a little harder this inning. I thought Ryan did a good job his first at bat when he took Erickson the other way for a base hit. Bases loaded, 1 out, 1-0 Atlanta. 6th inning. Ball 1. When Erickson got that double play in the first inning from Chipper Jones, he tied Andy Pettit for the most double plays started by a pitcher. 17 hit into off of Erickson. Maybe another one. Inning over. Orioles got just what they wanted. Erickson is amazing. He got the ground ball he needed, and the Braves get only one. 4-6-3. We go to the 7th. 1-0 Atlanta. Staying on deck look ahead as the Braves travel to Toronto. Tomorrow night we'll have it for you on TBS. Denny Nagel against Roger Clemens. We'll have 2 of those 3 games for you in Toronto, and then 3 at Philadelphia beginning Friday night. Hope you make your plans to be with us. We go to the 7th. Braves on top 1-0, and to take you the rest of the way, here's Skip.
Okay, Joe, thank you. B.J. Surhoff leads it off 1 for 2, and that was a double his last time up there. It's 1-0 Atlanta, but boy, the Braves had their chance to break the game open again, and again were unable to do so. Glavine goes to work, and Surhoff corks it to center, and Lofton should catch it. He moves to his right and makes the catch, 1 away. Surhoff is retired. Here's Lenny Webster, who is now 3 for 19 in his career against Tom Glavine. This guy's a pretty good ball player. He can play third and first, a little outfield for you, as well as catching. Got to get those batting gloves just right.
He looks like a bull rider. He's adjusting and tightening and fixing.
And Glavine deals it out of the chute. A little low, 1 ball, no strikes. Good fastball, 1-1. 1 out, nobody aboard. 1-0 Atlanta. We are in the 7th. Braves hitting now, I think, 185 with runners with the bases loaded. That is just fair. A broken bat double, almost certainly. Now they're going to hold him at first on a fine play by Michael Tucker. He broke his bat, but he got a hit, and Tucker kept him at first. 1 on, 1 out.
We showed you Michael Tucker running the bases. His speed, also the difference in this being a single or a double, is he was on this quickly, picked it up barehanded on the carom. That was not an easy play. It came off the wall pretty hard. Outstanding effort.
And he was right to stop, because if he runs, Tucker's got him easily. Bordick today has been intentionally walked and is grounded to short. They chase Webster back to first, but I doubt that he'll be going anywhere. Erickson is on deck. He will hit for himself. He has struck out both times. I don't believe there's any action, and they're both in. There's a strike at the knees. Glavine gets out in front on Mike Bordick. The Orioles have left 5 runners on the day, and they've all been in the last 3 innings, and they have a runner at first with 1 out here. Outside, it's 1-1. What is that, a weather balloon up there, Joe?
If it is, it must be a rain balloon. That's all we've had around here, it seems like, lately, although sunshine covering the field now.
Strange looking thing. A ball and a strike to count. High chopper towards second. Lemke up, boots the ball, and everybody's safe. In his anxiety to try to get 2, he didn't get any. That'll be a boot. And whether it's a costly one or not remains to be seen.
You know, there's no way they were going to get a double play on this high chopper. Maybe Mark's idea is that let's keep that runner out of scoring position. Even though the pitcher's coming up, let's get the lead runner and keep a runner at first base with 2 outs. And unfortunately, they didn't get anybody. And now the Orioles have a chance to use the pitcher to bunt.
Yeah, it really changes the inning around. If there are 2 outs and the pitcher hitting, you feel like you're in pretty good shape. But Tommy's got to pitch around the air, or try to. Erickson has fanned both times.
I got to put a lot of pressure on him. I mean, I've got to be right on top of him and see if he can respond and put the bunt down in a good place.
Wheel play is on, and they butted foul. 0-1. When we say the wheel play is on, that means the third baseman charges hard and the shortstop races toward third.
Sam Perlazzo giving Erickson some instruction about where he wants this bunt placed, and he's probably trying to explain to him too that if there's no room to bunt and if the third baseman's on top of you, then just chop at it
and hope for the best. And they probably don't have any signs for their pitchers to bunt because of course they never bat except in these few interleague games.
And as a result, Erickson has choked up on the bat a little bit more here.
The 0-1 again. He's going to bunt, and he bunts it foul back. Out of play again. Nice catch by a fan in the first row, and he gives it to a little boy in the second row. Nice going, sir. Davy Johnson flashes through the signs. Chipper Jones talks with Tom Glavine. Perlazzo and Erickson get together. Now we're ready to go. 0-2 is the count. Chipper still thinks he's bunting. He's in on the grass, but he's keeping a close eye on Webster at second base too. The stretch, he shows bunt, and he gets it down. Good bunt. McGriff will go to first. He might have had a play at third, but he took the safe play, and there are 2 out. Now a base hit would mean 2 runs, and give Erickson credit. With 2 strikes, he got the bunt out.
Well, and with 2 strikes, even when he did square around, you got to be right on top of him. You got to make sure that he doesn't get away with that. It happened, and it worked. So he did do the job with 2 strikes.
Brady Anderson is the batter, and he is 1 for 3, and his hit came on his last trip an inning ago. So 2 runners in scoring position in the 7th. Breaking ball stayed high. Didn't want it there. 1 ball, no strikes. He got away with a pitch there. One ball, no strikes. 2 on, 2 out. Fastball up and in. It's 2-0. He's got Jeff Rebollet next. Now they're just going to say the heck with it and put Anderson on. This is a great compliment. He's a left-hand hitter against the southpaw, but they're putting him on here. And Jeff Rebollet will bat with the bases loaded and 2 out. He has singled, struck out, and sacrificed. So Anderson trots down to first. 3rd walk of the game for Glavine. 2 of them have been intentional.
Orioles signed Rebollet as a free agent. He spent the last 4+ seasons with Minnesota, a .248 career hitter, hit .222 last year, and that's why you got to take your chances with a guy who's more of a line drive hitter than a guy who's got the pop of a Brady Anderson.
So the Orioles have him loaded with 2 out in the 7th. There's a strike and a good start for Glavine in this tough spot. 0-1 the count. Webster at third, Bordick at second, Anderson at first with 2 out.
Rebollet, his last at bat, decided to try to take Glavine to right field, or I should say 2 at bats ago when he got the base hit.
Michael plays him rather shallow out there. Just missed. 1-1. Minnesota 2 in the first at Houston. Houston now bats. Rebollet stands back in there. And the 1-1 pitch. Fouled it back, and Joe's right. Again, he took a shot at right field. A ball and 2 strikes. We talk all the time about Glavine bending and seldom breaking. With the bases loaded, with Tom Glavine on the mound, opponents are 1 for 13.
Makes pitches when he has to, and the crowd gets behind him here.
He's not out of the woods yet, though. The 1-2 pitch. Here it is. Did it hit him? It did, and the game is tied. On a 1-2 pitch, Glavine tried to come inside, got it too far in, and the game is tied An RBI for Ray Bollet. Wow. Frustration continues here.
Tommy Glavine struck him out with a fastball in the first inning. That's what he was trying to do again. Wanted to make sure he didn't make a mistake by leaving it out over the plate. Came too far inside and brushed him.
And so instead of a 203 hitter at the plate, you have a 286 hitter at the plate, and the inning is unraveling in a hurry. Jeffrey Hammonds, the batter, 0 for 3, but a tough out. Swung, chopped to third. Chipper boots that. God, 2 runs may score. They will. It went through Jones. It went through Blauser. And runners are at second and third. That has to be a boot. You might charge 2 errors. You might charge 1 to Blauser. It's 3-1 Baltimore.
The defense killing Tom Glavine this inning. The error by Lemke. An error by Jones. And Blauser couldn't handle it either. The miscue by Blauser caused the second run to score. It's an E5.
All the runs in this inning unearned, but they all count, and it's 3-1 Baltimore. Here's Rafael Palmeiro, and he skies one into short left field. That should be caught. Klesko is there waiting, and the inning is finally over, but not before. 3-run score on only 1 measly hit, and that a broken bat single. However, there were 2 errors in the inning and 2 men left, and you go to the bottom of the 7th and the game is turned around. It's 3-1 Baltimore. They had a great chance to do some damage in the 6th. Got only 1 run. They got a bad break on a double by Chipper Jones. It went through a hole in the fence, or a gap in the fence. That cost him a run. And then Klesko grounded into a double play with the bases loaded to end the inning, and then 3 unearned runs in the 7th for Baltimore. 3-1 is our score. Javi is 1 for 2. He's been swinging a hot bat. Had a good cut there, but he fouled it back. It's 0-1.
Got a good look from that vantage point about how much Erickson's ball moves.
Not many hit in the air. That gets by Webster all the way to the screen. In fact, only 1 fly ball out in the game, and that was by Lofton an inning ago. Mike Bilecki in the bullpen yet again.
Erickson caused his own problems last inning, walking the pitcher leading off the inning, and you know he's a little juiced up now after getting a 3-1 lead.
A little looper down the right side. That's going to dunk in there fair, and Javi's on his way to second, and he will make it easily. That brings the tying run to the plate.
This pitch looked like it was up and in. Came in on Javi, and he just fought it off. He's so strong. Got enough on it to hit it in a soft space and had it die over on the warning track. Nice start to the inning.
So Lopez 2 out of 3. Here's Jeff Blauser. Webster calls time and trots to the mound. We're in the bottom of the 7th already, and the news is not good. Baltimore up top 3-1. Webster's visit, a brief one.
Webster's one of those guys, though, that's good at going out to the pitcher, settling him down, and letting him know, hey, let's work on the batter. That guy at second base doesn't mean anything right now. Even if he scores, we've still got the lead. Let's not make this a bad inning.
Downstairs, 1 ball, no strikes. The Yankees and Marlins have started again. They're in the 2nd. It's 3-0. 1 hour and 12-minute rain delay. That was 17 doubles for Javi, 2 less than he had all of last year. He showed bunt, took it low. 2 balls, no strikes.
Oh, he had a prime opportunity too. Ripken was playing very deep at third base. I'm not sure which direction Jeff had that one aimed, but if he had gotten it fair down the third base line, he had a base hit all the way.
2 balls, no strikes. Erickson came into the game with 25 walks in 83 innings. Now their bullpen begins to stir. The old automatic right through there. 3-1. Joe Simpson, Skip Carey with you from Turner Field. The news not good so far today. 3-1 Baltimore. Jesse Orozco again, the veteran left-hander in their bullpen. Blauser awaits a 3-1 pitch with Lopez at second and nobody out.
Orozco gets up because after Lemke, the Braves have Glavine, Lofton, and Tucker. 3 lefties due up after that, and Bobby might pinch hit for Glavine depending on the situation.
Just missed a double, a rope down the third base line, but foul. It's 3-2. So Erickson has battled back to run it full. The 3-2 pitch. Right off the end of the bat. Still 3-2.
Jeff leaning out over the plate a little bit. Remember, he struck out earlier in the game back in the second inning on a bad breaking ball, but mostly because he was kind of lunging for it, reaching for it. This time he wanted to make sure he had the plate covered in case he got another one.
Javi edges away. There's nobody out. There's a drive deep left field, and we got a tie game. He hung a breaking ball. Number 8 for Blauser, 31 RBIs. Listen to this crowd.
And I hope somebody gets that ball back for him. That's career homer number 100. And yes, he was all over that curveball. Take a look. It was a hanger. Stayed up. Oh, mercy. On a tee for him, and he didn't miss it.
Ray Miller to the mound to talk to his pitcher. Orozco in the bullpen. And the game is tied again, 3-3. That changes things around. Now Tom Glavine moves out on deck. They would have almost certainly have pinch hit for him had the Braves been trailing. Now he may stay in the game. It may depend on what Mark Lemke does. He's the next hitter. So a weak double by Lopez and a strong homer. And by the way, with that home run by Jeff Blauser, another $50,000 goes to funding Camp Cure's mission to finding a cure for prostate cancer. Mark Lemke stands in. The pitch. Low and inside. 1 ball, no strikes. 3-3 our score. Erickson delivers. That's in there. A ball and a strike.
You never know what the thought process is on a pitch selection, but Erickson's ground ball outs have been so good today with his sinker.
There's a base hit to right center for Lemke. He's around first. He will try. They got a shot at him. Bad throw. He's safe. So the go-ahead run is in scoring position with nobody out.
Here's Lemke's double, and he had a good break out of the box. Knew that it was right between the outfielders and never hesitated around first. But back to Blauser's home run, you know that that strikeout had to be in the back of Erickson's mind when he decided to go with the breaking ball instead of the sinker, but made a mistake with it. It cost him a homer, and now he's out of the ball game after the double.
That's right. Dave Johnson has to make the Bell South call to the bullpen.
The game as not only Orozco but Benitez, Rhodes, and Myers all pitched extremely well.
And being tied for third in wins is sort of good. You don't want to be much higher than that because that might mean that you've blown some saves. and they haven't blown many. Orozco came to the big leagues in '81 with the Mets. Pitched there through '87, '88 with the Dodgers. Next 3 years in Cleveland, then 3 in Milwaukee, and this is his 3rd in Baltimore.
There are some pitchers who go to the other league that you don't see for a long time, and maybe they've made some changes. They've developed a new pitch or something. But for Jesse Orozco, even though it's been 8 or 9 years, something like that, since he pitched in the National League, he's still basically the same guy, a sidearm sinker slider pitcher who likes to try to keep the left-handers off balance with that sidearm delivery.
You know, Myers, I think, tricked our guys Friday night the first time they saw him, because he didn't have that change of pace when he was in the National League. Well, here we go. Ripken in close at third, faces his pitcher. Palmeiro is at first. He's bunting, and he bunts a line drive foul into the owner's box by the Baltimore dugout.
Well, you say to yourself, well, it should be easy to bunt anyway. Tommy's, I think, leading the National League in sacrifice bunts, but there is that little bit of reservation when Orozco comes from Laredo, and you're still trying to make sure you've got the outside part of the plate covered and don't punch at it.
Laredo's down in Texas, for those of you not really good on geography.
Yeah, Baja, Texas.
0-1 the count. Orozco wants to talk to Lenny Webster. Crowd says let's go, but this is a key spot in the game. Braves have another chance. They've tied it up on Blauser's 2-run blast and now have a chance to take the lead. Now he's ready, and so is Glavine. Bluff toward second, but Lemke, the only man at the bag.
Ripken positioning himself to face the runner, and in a good spot to also cross over and charge the bunt if he needs to.
That's Tommy's plan, if he can, is to get it down that third base line and make Ripken feel it. That's what he tried to do, but he missed, and it's 0-2. What do you do now? I would guess he'll try again, but we shall see.
I think so. Again, runs are so hard to come by in this series, and you got a chance to put a guy at third base in less than 2 outs. Again, Tommy's a very good bunter. Take your chances with 2 strikes.
Kenny Lofton 1 for 11 against Orozco in his career. Waits to hit next. The 0-2. Low and outside, and he was bunting.
And almost crossed up Webster. Lenny did a good job to hang on to that pitch. He was looking for a breaking ball and got handcuffed.
And again, Webster and Orozco have a chat. Randy Marsh has had about enough of this.
It's a hot day, and he wants him to move along, but watch Webster adjust on this catch, trying to keep it from getting by him.
1-2 the count. Here we go. He's out. So again, the Braves can't do the little things today. Can't get the runner over. Orozco strikes out the first man he faces.
Tommy got the bat out in front of him okay. But a good pitch by Orozco down and away. Tommy couldn't afford to take it for fear that it might be called strike 3. Couldn't keep it fair.
So here's Kenny Lofton. A runner at second, 1 out now. 3-3 our score. Average speed at second base, but a good base runner in Mark Lemke. Lofton today has singled, an infield hit, struck out, flied to left. They play him way around toward left field. On the outside corner, boy, he's still tough, isn't he?
Good control, hits his spots. He has made it, or has pitched this long. He's 40 years old because of his ability to get left-handed hitters out.
The 0-1 pitch about to be made. It's almost like you're not sure that you want to throw the pitch that you got the sign for when you do that. 48,088 that paid attendance today. Another great crowd. Pretty obvious Atlanta likes interleague play. Good play by Webster on that ball. They're in the fourth. Cleveland and St. Louis scoreless. David Justice scratched from that game at the last moment. A hyperextended elbow. His condition is day to day.
Right-handers hitting .235 against Orozco. The left-handers only .115.
The 1-1 pitch. Here it is. Swung and fouled off, and the bat almost got Palmeiro. That was an Olympic hammer throw. Unfortunately, we're playing baseball, and the count goes to 1-2.
And Kinney, as one bat boy was bringing him the bat back, Michael Tucker was tossing him some pine tar.
Pretty good idea. 1-2 the count, and Tucker is the on-deck hitter. The line score is distressing. 3-8-2 for Atlanta, 3-4-0 for Baltimore. And the 1-2 pitch. Got it. Lofton out on strikes. It's all up to Michael Tucker, and the runner has not yet moved from second base.
And Orozco is doing his job. He's retired 2 lefties in a row. Strikeouts on both occasions, and with that bad back, Kenny Lofton's reach limited here on this breaking ball as he just kind of waved at it. No real flexibility for him yet.
Michael Tucker today is 1 for 2 with a, well, he's 1 for 3. Hit into a fielder's choice in the first inning.
Good matchup here. Tucker's been hitting lefties well.
Lemke still waits at second. Now there are 2 out. He overmatched him with that breaking ball. 0-1. Braves had the bases loaded, 1 out an inning ago after scoring a run and failed to score. After scoring 2 here in the 7th, they had a runner at second with nobody out. He's there with 2 out. Too far out with that breaking ball. It's 1-1.
Funny line on Jesse Orozco when you look at his numbers for the year. 17 innings. Now 18 innings on the year. And 16 walks. But he's only given up 2 runs all year, so he comes into spots maybe like this where he pitches around a guy or 2 and still has enough good stuff to get out of the inning without any trouble.
The 1-1. Right off the end of the bat, foul. See if everybody's all right over there in that camera well. I think they are. I thought the fans were being helpful, but actually they were trying to get a souvenir. 1-2 the count. Pretty good job of pitching there, folks. Lemke at second with nobody out. Orozco comes in and strikes out the side and gets out of the danger. The end of 7, though. The Braves have tied it 3-3. Tommy Lasorda here at the ballpark again. And rooting for the Braves today. He's a National Leaguer through and through. The 2-2 pitch, here it is. Struck him out. The change of pace victimizes Ripken. One away, and that is 6 strikeouts for Tom Glavine in the game.
Vintage Tom Glavine. Ball dying down and away, and Ripken trying to stay on it. Couldn't reach it.
Much attention will be focused on the 2 errors that made the 3 runs unearned, but if you ask Tom Glavine after this game, he's going to be extremely upset with a hit batsman, Jeff Riboulet, that drove in a run. He was ahead of him in the count 1-2 and hit him.
And then didn't get the bunt down. He takes a lot of pride in that too.
Well, as it worked out, that didn't matter.
Right.
But it might have. Who knows? The 0-1 pitch. 0-2. This guy is really a bulldog, this Glavine. He will battle you every inch of the way. Might not always beat you. Nobody does, but he never breaks. The 0-2 pitch. Right off the thumbs. Surhoff stays alive. 0-2 the count.
Thumbs is right, because he's kind of holding that left hand like that hurt on that swing. Tried to pull the hands in and get the bat around, but too late.
The 0-2 pitch. Here it is. Hit foul to the left. Hits the facade and comes back down. You can get karate chopped in the back of the head in this ballpark if you're not careful.
That's what's one of the nice things about it, though, is that the fans are so close to the field. You got to be heads up because of the foul balls coming right at you.
A ball and 2 strikes.
Glavine normally, Skip, gets about 110, 115 pitches allowance from Bobby Cox and Leo Mazzoni, and he's at that mark now, so we'll wait to see if he gets through this inning okay, if he comes back out.
Surhoff waits, and the 1-2 pitch. Line foul left side. Into the club level where the fans scramble for the souvenir. Guy from Buckhead came away from that one. A lot of folks from Buckhead in the club level.
Got here 3rd inning.
1-2 the count. Ground ball to short. Blauser has it. Across the diamond in time. 2 down. One of my favorite mixologists, Norm from Chop's restaurant out here at the ballpark today.
Is that a scouting report?
Absolutely. There's a sudden dip in Chardonnay stock throughout the city. Webster fouled it off his foot. It's 0-1. Randy Marsh flips a new baseball into play.
Pete Incaviglia getting a bat and a helmet ready just in case.
He landed on his feet, didn't he? He's with a good team.
He and Todd Zeal going together last year from Philadelphia over to Baltimore.
A ball and a strike. Speaking of the Phillies, we'll finally see them on this trip. Toronto, Philadelphia, the Mets come home to play Philadelphia, then go right back up and play the Yankees in Montreal prior to the break. Fouled away the other way. It's 0-2, or 1-2, excuse me. Reds lead the White Sox 4-3 in the 3rd, as Joe told you. The 1-2 pitch. Just missed. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
What do you think, Bobby? Right at the target. but maybe it was a little bit outside.
The 2-2 pitch. Pop foul back and out of play. Still 2-2.
And with each foul ball, the pitch count gets a little bit higher for Tom Glavine, and his chances of coming back out for the ninth get slimmer.
Shortstop Mike Bordick is on deck, or at least is the next scheduled hitter. The 2-2, here it is. Low, and it's full now. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Good at bat for Webster. He's made him work. And a payoff pitch is due a tough right-hand hitter. He's a much better hitter than his 185 would indicate. 1 out of 3 today. 4 out of 20 in his career against Glavine, and he walked it. 4th walk for Glavine. 2 of them have been intentional. Bordick will hit for himself.
Tommy was very disturbed about his outing against Colorado last time out on the 9th of June. He got beat 8-3, 5 innings, 8 hits, 5 runs. It really nagged at him, and he couldn't wait to get back out there today. And he's pitched a great ball game, and were it not for some defensive lapses, might have a shutout working.
Bordick hits it right back where it came from. That'll be that. Over to first, and the inning is over. No hits, no runs, no errors, 1 left. Bottom of the 8th, all tied, 3-3.
Atlanta Braves baseball, brought to you by Rheem Air Conditioners. You can relax with Rheem. And by Citgo. Just get up and go. Citgo says go.
Things. A lot of times, of course, guy comes in out of the bullpen and he's in a tough situation, as he was last inning. And this year, when he faces a batter with runners in scoring position, with those 3 strikeouts last inning, batters are now only 2 for 20 against him. That's pretty impressive in clutch situations.
And Chipper Jones from the right side, a .258 hitter with no homers. Though he does have 9 RBIs, he is 1 for 3 today. And with that hit, drove in a run. Should have driven in 2. But for a bad break when the ball got through a gap in the fence in left field.
Pretty big run at this point, isn't it?
Sure is. It's the little things. It's that. They hit batsmen. Those are the things. The errors. When 2 good teams play, it's mistakes that decide games quite often. Teams often lose them rather than winning them. The 0-1 pitch to the right-hand hitter. Line. Bad hop hit. Bordick might have made that play, but it took a high hop as he dove for it. There's a start in the 8th.
It looked like he had it measured, didn't it?
Yes.
It looked like he was going to be able to reach it, but watch this hop. Instead of it staying low to the ground, it bounces back up and over Bordick. He hit it hard. And a good hop, at least for Atlanta.
Chipper is 9 of 9 in the stolen base department, but I doubt very much that he'll be running. He re-injured his groin legging out an infield hit yesterday. Andrew Jones has moved on deck as Fred McGriff stands in. Their bullpen is busy once again. As Orozco comes set and delivers to first instead of to McGriff. Fred is 2 out of 11 against Orozco in his career, a home run included. Armando Benitez in the bullpen. For Baltimore, our bullpen is busy as well. Mark Wohlers is throwing, and Fred had a home run cut, but he came up empty. 0-1 the count.
This is one of those times where, with the runner at first base, that hole on the right side, Fred certainly needs to think about pulling the ball. And against a lefty who doesn't want to give in to him, Fred probably should make him pitch him inside, crowd the plate a little bit.
Orozco and McGriff both ready now. 0-1 the count. There's Andrew waiting to hit next.
I don't know if the next pitch will be inside, but before that throw was made to first, Webster had set up inside, and I honestly think if they're going to, with the way Fred is set up at the plate so far off home plate. If they pitch him inside, they're doing him a favor. Let's see if he goes back inside.
No, trying to go away. There goes the runner. Pop foul back. They play a little hit and run, and the count goes to 0-2. Chipper running pretty well. It doesn't appear that that groin is bothering him.
He didn't know where the ball went either. He was not going to take any chances either.
That's got to be a lonely feeling when you're sliding into second and have no idea if the ball was popped up, and you can see how it can happen. So Fred is in the hole, 0-2. We're in the bottom of the 8th. Runner at first, nobody out, tie game. Curve popped up left side. Let's see if it stays in play. Ripken coming over to the stands, reaches in, can't get there, and doesn't have time to sign any autographs. Still 0-2.
He was out at 12:35, 12:36 this morning, or this afternoon, prior to the start at 1:10, signing autographs in that same general area.
Some people say he saved baseball when he broke Lou Gehrig's record. I think that's overstating it, but brother, he helped at a time when baseball's popularity was at an all-time low, perhaps. 0-2 the count.
Fred's battling. He's fought off a couple of breaking balls that were both outside. Here comes another one.
0-2. Made him look awful. Chased a bad ball. Breaking ball outside. He's struck out every left-hand hitter he's seen. Andrew Jones has been announced, and now we'll see if Davey Johnson goes to his right-hander in the bullpen.
Well, Bobby knows that there's a strong chance that Benitez will get the call here, but the way Orozco's pitching, he likes Andrew's chances better against Benitez than any of the left-handers against Orozco.
Looks like a double switch for Davey Johnson. He's a former National League manager, so all this double switch stuff is not new to him. It's new to most of his players. Benitez will be the pitcher, and we'll take a break and let you know about everything when we come back after this. Rebelay moves to short, and Armando Benitez, who pitched well here yesterday and poorly here on Friday, is on to work. Orozco went an inning and a third, gave up a hit, struck out the other 4 men he faced. No runs yet, but that runner at first is his responsibility.
Benitez has been roughed up a little bit in this series, and maybe that's what Bobby Cox is hoping for, especially the way Orozco has pitched. Benitez gave up 2 runs in game 1. He gave up home runs to Chipper Jones and Eddie Perez. Yesterday he worked 2/3 of an inning, did not allow a hit or a run, but did walk a batter.
He's a hard-throwing right-hander.
And he was the guy that was out there yesterday, if you didn't see it, with the bases loaded and 1 out, struck out Blauser, and then got Lemke to pop to center to get out of a huge jam.
Looked like those pitches that Jeff swung at were both high.
Yeah, I think they might have been, but if Benitez throws so hard, it's kind of the Mark Wohlers syndrome. You start your swing a little early, and even on a high pitch, it looks so good, you have a hard time stopping.
When you watch on TV and see those replays, it really makes it an easy game when they slow it down like that, but in real life, it's very, very difficult. Runner at first, 1 out. Andrews really got the stocking showing today. Runner at first, 1 out.
That number of Benitez with the inherited runners, just another one of the great numbers in that bullpen. They are outstanding as a group.
Nothing wrong with that. At the knees, low fire, 0-1.
He has faced Benitez twice in this series already. He struck out in game 1 and did not face him yesterday, so only 1 at bat.
Chipper edges away. Palmeiro has to hold him on over there. He's back on his stomach again. The throw almost sailed past the Oriole first baseman.
I'm always interested when a guy is in a game for the 3rd straight day, if he's a hard thrower, to see how much he's still got on his fastball, see how much life is still there.
High pop. He had him, took a little off, had him off stride. Let's see if anybody can get to it. Ripken cannot make the catch and still doesn't have time for autographs. And the count goes to 0-2.
When you're almost 37 years old and you get over near that wall, you'd think that that would be good enough just to have a look-see. But Ripken's climbing walls and ready to go in there if he has to try to make the catch.
But he had no chance, and it's 0-2. Five straight outs have been on strikes by Baltimore pitchers. And it's up to Javi.
And yesterday the Braves struck out 16 times in that 12-inning game.
Seven times today.
Pat Corrales has a chat with Chipper Jones as they call timeout and move away from the bag at first. If he's going to steal, Pat might be trying to give him a tip on what to look for from Benitez.
Lopez 2 out of 3. Fouls it back. Had a good cut. It's 0-1.
He made a good pitch on Andrew on the second pitch of that sequence with a changeup. If Chipper's going to run and you're guessing along with Benitez, you think maybe he'll throw him an off-speed pitch here since he's ahead in the count. Maybe this will be a good pitch to run on.
They play him around toward left and very, very deep. There he goes into right center field. Let's see if that gets down. On the run is the right fielder Hammonds. He gets there. It hung in the air a little too long. If that gets down, the Braves have the lead, but it didn't. One hit, no runs, no errors, one left. We've played 8, and we're all tied 3-3.
Where tomorrow night they will take on Roger Clemens and the Toronto Blue Jays. Denny Nagel gets the start for Atlanta, and we'll have it for you here on the Superstation from Skydome beginning at 7:30 Eastern Time.
Two pitchers with great records this year, 2 all-star possibilities matched up tomorrow in Toronto. Robbie Alomar leads it off and gets the response he gets everywhere but Baltimore. People will not forgive or forget. And Glavine delivers, and it's a little high. 1 ball, no strikes. 3-3. We're in the 9th. Lower end of the order due up for Atlanta. Top of the order here for Baltimore, with Alomar hitting 9th, and then Anderson, and then Ribolet.
And sorry, Skip, but he's also hitting left-handed because of that sore shoulder.
Yes.
He's a switch hitter, but he's batting left-handed.
I would think that would be tougher for a switch hitter than it would be for a guy who always hits that way. He doesn't look good there.
Braves had a tough homestand, the last homestand against the Giants and Padres, delivering with runners in scoring position, as a result did not fare too well in those games.
I'll be darned. He reached out and served one into right field after looking awful on the previous pitch. So give Alomar some credit. That came on a 1-2 pitch at that.
Was it a breaking ball? If it was a hanger that stayed out over the plate.
Braves bullpen is busy again.
But part of the problem in that last homestand was hitting with runners in scoring position. These 2 games against Baltimore, Braves have had chances. They're 4 for 25 against Baltimore in that situation, and as a result are 0-2 and tied in the 9th today.
Balecki and Embry in the Atlanta bullpen. Anderson fouls it away. He's 1 for 3 with a walk and a run scored.
One more time, Sam. Give me those signs one more time.
The 0-1. He bunts, and it's a good one. Back to the mound. Glavine has it. Lemke covers. The go-ahead run is at second with one out.
Give the Orioles some credit. I mean, these guys came into the series. Let's talk about just coming into today's game. They'd put down 18 sacrifice bunts. The Braves had put down, by comparison, 37 sacrifice bunts. Jimmy Key put down a great bunt in game 1 that led to a big inning. And today, the Orioles have executed again with a couple of sacrifices. And oddly enough, the Braves have not done that.
Ribolet is called back, and Pete Incaviglia is going to come out and hit here. You don't need to see his number when you see that burly physique advancing toward the plate. Incaviglia will come out and hit. He's hitting .246 with 4 homers, 11 RBI.
And 5 for 20 lifetime against Glavine. He's seen him a lot in the National League and has hit 2 homers off of him. But he is an aggressive hitter. A good off-speed hitter too. Early in his career, he had great power. In fact, probably better power to right center to left center than he did pulling the ball.
So he stands in with a runner at second and 1 out. $48,088 paid here today. And here we go. High and outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Jeffrey Hammonds is next, then Rafael Palmeiro. The 1-0. Didn't get it. 1-1 the count.
You were talking about the little things earlier, Skip, and one of the other little things was that ground ball. Yeah, an error by Chipper cost a run, but if Blauser doesn't let it get by him, the second run doesn't score. And it might have been just a 2-run inning.
A ball and a strike. 2-1. Incaviglia just 1 for 18 this month, and he's hitting .167 with runners in scoring position. So Braves fans hope those stats hold up here. Fly ball foul to right. 2-2. Toronto hammering Philadelphia. It's now 10-1 in the 7th.
And I think Pat Hinkton was on the mound today for Toronto in that contest. Braves will miss him.
But not Roger. They won't miss him.
Pete Incaviglia's been around and has seen Glavine enough to know what to expect, knows that he likes to work the outside part of the plate. Looked like he was looking that way on the 2-1 pitch.
See what he does. 2-2. Ground ball to short. Blauser to his right, up across the diamond in time. He got down the line in pretty good shape. 2 down.
He always hustles. He has always been a guy who ran hard down the line. And he knew he had a chance. Look at him dig.
So Jeffrey Hammonds is the man on the spot with a runner in scoring position. 2 out. Boy, that's a bunch for him. 132. But he has battled them, and by rights should be headed for a win right here, but that's not the way it is. We're tied at 3. Hammonds doesn't get it. He is 0 for 3 with a no, he's 0 for 4. He hit the ground ball that plated 2 runs on an error by Jones that was also mishandled by Blauser.
Previous high for Tommy was 129 pitches against the Giants on the 30th of May. He beat him 3-2 and worked only 7 innings that day.
Fastball away. It's a ball and a strike. He doesn't appear to have lost anything. He surrendered just 5 hits. The Braves have 9. Braves have the game's only homer, but we're tied 3-3. Lined into left field, well hit, but Tucker is there, and the inning is over. So Glavine did his job. He pitched beautifully. 1 hit, no runs, no errors, 1 left. Bottom of the 9th, chance to win the game. A standing O for Glavine. We're tied 3-3.
Hi, at Gateway, getting the computer you want is simple. Let's say this is your basic computer. You want lots of memory? Sure. Great speakers. Maybe more memory. No problem. A big monitor? Maybe not that big. The new Pentium 2 processor. See, we built your computer exactly.
And Pete Incaviglia stays in the game and plays left field as we go to the bottom half of the 9th inning, and Jeff Blauser leads it off.
First time this year that there's been a game the Orioles were involved in where Ripken had to move back to play some shortstop.
I'm pretty sure he remembers how to play it.
Yeah, something tells me he'll be okay.
Blauser has a 2-run homer to his credit in this game. 1 more would send the fans home happy for the first time in this series. He's got a tough nut to crack here in Armando Benitez, who goes to work and deals high. 1 ball, no strikes.
This is how he worked Blauser yesterday with the bases loaded. Started him with some high fastballs and eventually struck him out.
The 1-0 pitch. High again, 2-0. Webster calls time and goes to the mound. We've got some chinks in their defensive armor now with Incaviglia in left. Ripken has slowed up a step. He's not the shortstop he once was, and Surhoff more at home in left.
The thing about B.J. Surhoff, he has played some third before. I think also with spent some time there with the Brewers after he moved out from behind the plate. Very versatile, good athlete.
2 balls, no strikes. 3-0. A walk, and the winning run is aboard. It was yesterday that Benitez came back from a 3-0 count on Blauser and struck him out. Terry Matthews now in their bullpen, former National Leaguer. The 3-0 almost hit him. The winning run is at first. Benitez issues his first pass. And you would figure Mark Lemke would be bunting and Keith Lockhart would be on deck. Here comes Davy Johnson, though. That's going to do it for Benitez.
You know, he is, because of his National League experience, very much managing these games like a National League contest, as he should, without the DH. He wants to bring in a guy who's a good sinker ball pitcher. He knows the bunt's in effect, but he wants to make it tough on the Braves to get the job done.
And he makes the change. Matthews will come in, and we'll break away for this.
It's movies to die for.
3 earned run average. This is his 21st game. 23 1/3 innings, 17 hits, 12 earned runs, 17 walks, and 18 strikeouts. So control is a problem for him from time to time.
Thinking about the way their bullpen has worked and how good it has been even in this series, Skip Orozco has already been used. They've still got 2 down there. One is their closer that they never use unless they've got a lead going to the last inning, and that's Randy Myers. The other guy, Arthur Rhodes, was so tough yesterday for 3 innings. You wonder if he might not be available for Davy Johnson today.
Yeah, 3 innings, a lot of pitches to come back and pitch the next day. In this day and age in baseball, Matthews completes his warm-up tussle.
Rhodes yesterday, 3 innings, no hits, no runs, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. And he was a guy who last year really didn't want him to go to the bullpen. He wanted to stay in the rotation. Doing a great job down there in the bullpen, and you see one guy who's been in a Baltimore uniform. I believe it's longer than anyone ever. Elrod Hendricks, as a player, coach, and a part-time manager, filling in a couple of times.
Terry Matthews out of Northeast Louisiana University. Pitched for the Marlins until last year when he was dealt to Baltimore for Greg Zahn, who does some catching for Florida now. You would figure Lemke to bunt. Keith Lockhart on deck. Surhoff way in at third base. Boy, it would be tempting to take a shot at him. The theory not being to hit him, but to hit one by him because he's in so close.
If I'm Mark Lemke, I've got to be happy that Matthews is the guy in there to bunt right now instead of a guy throwing 96 miles an hour.
But I think the walk just frosted Davey. He bunts a pop foul back. We've had trouble moving runners over here lately. 0-1 the count. It's going to be, if you bunt toward third, you got no shot unless you bunt it by him.
Orioles getting the job done. The Braves are not, and the Braves are the team that do it more often. It looked like Mark was trying to push that to third base. And in this situation, you'd rather pull it to the right side and make the first baseman field it.
The 0-1 pitch. Instead to first. Lemke today has doubled in 3 trips. The other 2 times were infield rollers. The 0-1. He bunts. Oh, good play by Surhoff. Throws him out. Alomar almost came off the bag at first base. They almost collided, Matthews and Surhoff. That would have been nice. And he almost bunted it over their heads.
Well, Mark got a break in that it bounced off the plate. As close as Surhoff was, if it hits the dirt, he might have still had it play at second. It worked out. And the Braves have a chance and another defensive change for Baltimore.
Boy, the wheels are spinning now, aren't they?
Tony
Tarasco enters the game. Hammonds moves to left, and Incaviglia, who just came in, goes out.
Well, he's doing this only in a defensive posture. He wants his best arms out there, his best outfielders. You talked about how there is maybe a chink in the armor with some of their defensive players playing out of position. Incaviglia certainly doesn't have the defensive capabilities of Hammonds in left, and Tarasco, if you're a Braves fan, you might remember Tony has a very good throwing arm in right.
So now they've used 3 shortstops, 2 second basemen, 2 third basemen, 3 left fielders.
And the Braves are going to have a pinch hitter.
And that will be Keith Lockhart against Terry Matthews. Lockhart has gotten some big hits for this team. And he stands in there now with a winning run at second and 1 out. Lockhart and Lofton have a chance to win the game for Atlanta.
Great job by Tom Glavine today, huh?
Oh, sensational. He went 9. He gave up 5 hits, 3 runs, none of them earned, 4 walks, 2 of them intentional, 6 strikeouts, and he hit a batter. Matthews ready to go to work. Well, that looked like a pretty good pitch, but it's called a ball. 1 ball, no strikes.
Yeah, he's lucky that it stayed away. Sinker slider pitcher mixes in a curveball. Wants a ground ball here.
2-0. Alomar is in short right field. He's got great range anyway, but he wants to knock one down, so it's not a game winner. Two balls, no strikes. Keith can look for a pitch here. High pop. Is there room? No. Right behind the Atlanta dugout. The fans battle for the souvenir, and it's 2-1.
The Braves don't have their fastest runner at second base, Skip, but they've got one of their smarter base runners. Jeff Blauser knows how to get every edge and get as big a lead as he possibly can in anticipation of a base hit.
He can get a pretty good lead because Alomar is over in the hole and way back in short right, as we mentioned. And though Ripken's up the middle, he's very deep as well. 2 balls and a strike. 3-1.
Well, let's face it, Lockhart's run doesn't mean anything.
That's right. They could care less if they walk in.
They're not trying to strike him out at this point, and they're certainly not going to give in to him here unless they make a mistake.
Fly ball, lazy fly, short center. Anderson coming hard, shortstop out. Ripken has it, 2 down. He may have chased a bad ball as he pops to short. 2 away. It's all up to Lofton.
Yeah, I think he might have. And something else about this, as we see the pitch down and away, he lifted it up, and maybe because Ripken was playing so far back, that gave him the room he needed to chase this one down. Otherwise, it might have dropped.
Their infield will be back now, too, because they have to be intent upon knocking a ball down. Surhoff joins the conversation with Webster and Matthews. You see more meetings, I think, in interleague play, because even though you have the meeting before the series starts, you really have to be reminded of these tendencies of these guys, because you see them so seldom, though they should be familiar with Lofton.
Well, they know that this guy killed them in the past couple of years. Talking to Fred Manfred, one of their radio announcers before the game, he said one advantage for Baltimore in this series has been the fact that Lofton did not play in the first 2 games.
He's 1 for 3 in his limited career against Terry Matthews. Winning run at second, but now 2 out. There's a strike right through there. 0-1. Kenny has legged out an infield hit. He has struck out twice and flied to left. They play him well around toward left field. A lot of room in right center. Blauser, a huge lead. The pitch. Swung, ground ball. Alomar to his right. He'll field that. Low throw, but Palmeiro digs it out, and the inning is over. Fine play by Rafael Palmeiro to save Alomar an error and maybe save the game. No hits, no runs, no errors. 1 left. Free baseball in Atlanta at the end of 9. All tied 3-3. In the world by Montreal, Toronto all over Philadelphia, Kansas City winning big at Pittsburgh, and the White Sox just got 5 in the 5th to take a lead over Cincinnati. Baines and Durham have homered. Nagy and Stottlemyre pitching that game in St. Louis, where Cleveland is playing. Cubs lead 2-1. Brent Brown a home run. Minnesota, a home run by Matt Lawton, has given them the lead over Houston, and the other action is later on. We go to the 10th inning, and here with the play-by-play story once again, Joe Simpson.
And another new pitcher, this time for the Braves. They go to the bullpen for the first time, and Mark Wohlers will come on and try to hold the Orioles off and give the Braves a chance to put a run across in the bottom of the 10th. Wohlers will face Palmeiro, Ripken, and Surhoff, the middle of the order. It's his 30th appearance of the year. You see 13 saves among his first 29 appearances, 28 innings, 19 walks, 41 strikeouts, and the league only hitting 137 against him. Yesterday, he gave everybody a thrill, and maybe not such a good one. In the 9th inning in a tie game, he came in, got an out, walked Anderson, struck out Alomar, then walked Webster, walked Palmeiro, loaded the bases in the top of the 9th with 2 out, went 3-1 on Ripken, and finally got him to ground out. Chipper made a kind of a wild throw to first base, and Fred McGriff saved him. And Palmeiro will lead off here in the 10th. Second straight extra inning ball game last afternoon, yesterday afternoon. The Braves suffered their first extra inning loss. First pitch swinging. Palmeiro bounces one to Lemke. 1 pitch, 1 out. The Braves are now 4-1 in extra inning games, and the Orioles now 3-4 after their win yesterday. Cal Ripken 0 for 4. He is grounded out, popped up, lined out, and struck out. That was all against Glavine. Fastball strike. Mark getting ahead in the count today, and that's a huge difference. Another one of those matchups that you never get to see otherwise except for interleague play. Mark Wohlers to Cal Ripken. 0-2. Interleague play, and of course, if there was a chance in All-Star play or the World Series. But certainly not in June. The 0-2 pitch to Ripken. Off the plate. I think that got a piece of the umpire, Randy Marsh. I don't know if Pete and Don reminded you, but Randy Marsh, the umpire at the plate across the street, when Cabrera drove in 2 runs, and when Sid Bream slid across home plate, Randy Marsh was making the call. And I believe he started that night at first base.
Yeah, the late John McSherry started at home plate and became ill.
The 0-2 bounced over the mound, base hit right over the bag. Ripken just stuck his bat out there, put some top spin on it, and the potential go-ahead run at first.
Not a hard swing at all. In fact, he really reached for that ball, but he steered it right up the middle.
His first hit of the day. 6 hits for the Orioles in all. And the batter is B.J. Surhoff. And suddenly, what's going on in the outfield? Oh, sunglasses being passed around. Andrew Jones got some from Michael Tucker by way of Kenny Lofton. Tucker doesn't need him in left, and suddenly the sun has come out, and Andrew definitely needed him. Surhoff leads the American League in hitting with runners in scoring position. He's got a runner at first at the moment and takes high. He's 1 for 4 today with a double. Strange game. Braves had 2 runs in on a double by Chipper Jones back in the 6th inning, but 1 run was called back when the ball rolled under a gate down in the bullpen. When it was a ground rule double, and Tucker had to come back to third. A 3-3 tie. Two and 0. Phil, how many games in a row is this for Cal Ripken today?
2380.
2,380 straight games, and that was his 2,622nd hit. They always said a hit a day will keep the doctor away. He's ahead of that pace.
Yeah, and it has certainly kept the doctor away.
Good swing by Surhoff, but he fouled it back. 2-1. Surhoff, you can see, knew he had a good pitch to hit 2-0, and the way Wohlers can bring it, sometimes you don't get a better opportunity. The catcher, Lenny Webster, on deck. In the air to left. Tucker near the line in fair territory, makes the catch. 2 down. And Webster will be up there 1 for 3 on the day. He has singled, scored a run, and has drawn a walk. That's Terry Matthews. He got out of the jam in the bottom of the 9th inning. Wohlers ready to go to work. Ripken still at first. 1-0.
David DeLucci in the on-deck circle, waiting to pinch hit if the inning continues.
That would be the pitcher's spot in the order. The 1-0 pitch. In the air to right and deep. Andrew Jones going back at the wall. He leaps. That ball is gone. Lenny Webster has just taken Mark Wohlers out of the park. An opposite field home run. Lenny Webster has his second homer of the day, or the year. And Skip, you just said a couple of innings ago he's a better hitter than his 185 average. There you go.
Andrew, I think, got a little closer to the wall than he thought he was when he started his jump and wasn't able to really elevate like he can. I don't know if he could have ever caught the ball. It was hit like a rocket shot, a fastball. And he wasn't trying to hit it that way, but he did. And watch Andrew. He gets close to the wall, and see when he jumps, the wall, it stopped him really from getting up as high as he might have. I don't know if he'd have caught the ball or not. By the way, Joe, with that home run, Lenny Webster adds another $50,000 toward funding CAP for a total of $100,000 raised for prostate cancer research in today's game.
A 2-out, 2-run homer, and the Orioles lead now 5-3. And DeLucci will hit for Terry Matthews, and we'll probably see Myers in the bottom of the 10th. DeLucci pinch hit here yesterday and struck out, but a good-looking hitter.
Boy, it's gotten, I'm not taking anything at all away from Webster, but it has gotten hotter, and the ball really is starting to jump a little bit, isn't it? Here.
Seems a lot different. Fouled 1 and 2. DeLucci was called up from Double-A. He was tearing it up there, hitting .346, 11 homers, 25 RBIs.
Webster makes his home in Fayetteville, right outside Atlanta. Fayetteville, Georgia.
Struck him out, but the damage done. A 2-run, 2-out homer by Lenny Webster has put the Orioles on top. We go to the bottom of the 10th, 5-3 Baltimore.
Dear Thompsons.
By Lenny Webster in the top of the inning. And for Atlanta, it will be Tucker, Chipper Jones, and then McGriff due up. Randy Myers leading the American League in saves, and with 2 already in this series, has 22 now on the year. And only 1 blown save on the season.
He's got that. We mentioned it earlier, but keep an eye on his change of pace. That's a pitch he didn't really feature when he was in the National League before with the Cubs, among other teams. Tell you what, these guys have sort of kicked our little behind so far, haven't they?
Well, they've made the plays.
Yes, they have.
They've hit the ball when they've had opportunities. They've taken advantage today of an inning where they got 3 runs that were all unearned. But the Braves, I mean, you hate to keep harping on it, but Atlanta is just not hitting when they have runners in scoring position. And in this game today, they are 2 for 10. In this series, they are 4 for 27, and that was, again, part of the reason for some losses in the series against the Padres and the Giants last homestand. But 3 outs to get for Myers. 22 saves in 30 appearances, a 1.27 ERA. Well ahead of last year's pace. 32 strikeouts in 28 innings this year, a .234 average against him. But if there's anybody in their bullpen that the Braves are familiar with, it's Randy Myers from his days with the Cubs.
And at times we've had pretty good success against him down through the years. Not always. I mean, he's a fine pitcher. He's a great guy. He's a man's man, a survivalist. He really enjoys hunting and fishing and camping.
He got the Braves 1-2-3 in the 9th on Friday night. Yesterday walked the leadoff batter in the 12th, but then got 3 straight outs. So let's see what happens as Tucker stands in. Michael is 1 for 4. And he wanted to make him throw a strike. Smart idea. 0-1. The 0-1 pitch to Tucker, low, 1-1. Tucker, Jones, and McGriff. Braves have left 7 men on base today. The Orioles have stranded 9. On the corner, 2-1, or 1-2, beg your pardon. You're right. Everything before was fastball, slider, hard stuff. Now that changeup, a little extra, something extra to think about. And there it is. Took a little off, painted the corner. Tucker didn't like it. A good start for Myers.
Let's take a look, and you can umpire it with us. Sorry, Michael, but that looked like a pretty good pitch. It was a ball where it was caught, but that's not the point. It's where it crosses the plate. It looked like it nipped that outside corner.
Chipper Jones has had another good day. 2 hits and 4 trips, a double and an RBI. His RBI back in the 6th inning was his 9th in his last 5 games. And sends that one on a line to left, but right at Hammonds. Hit it right on the nose, but 2 down. Braves down to their last out. 1 out away from being swept by the Orioles and falling to their 4th straight loss. Did he go? Yes, he did, says Paul Nort. 1-1. Down to their last strike, 0-2. All 3 games almost had the same mode of operation. Virtually scoreless through 5 innings. All the action in the last 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 innings. Breaking ball misses 1 and 2. A 4-3 contest on Friday night. 12 innings yesterday. The Orioles won by 2, and they lead by 2 here in the 10th today. The 1-2 in the dirt, 2-2. And a right-handed hitter on deck, and Andrew Jones, if Fred can reach, would represent the tying run. But they've got to get somebody on. Two-two pitch, fouled back, out of play. McGriff, if he can get a base hit, would be his first ever off of Myers. He's 0 for 6. Two and 2. Hit hard. Look out, folks. Not a good time of day to get nailed with that. I guess there's never a good time of day, but this late in the day especially, and that was smoked into the stands. Looks like everybody's okay. 2-2 the count. 2 out, nobody on. This should do it. Alomar looks up into the sun. Under it. And a sweep for the Orioles. Randy Myers picks up his 23rd save of the year, and the Orioles do it in come